welcome to the first video in the new place. Boxes. I'm still not really moved in yet. My roommate and I kind of have a divorced situation going on where she's kind of living here and I'm living at the old place just because I haven't had time to move as many things as she has. So we're kind of split up right now. But we have a lot of time. We actually have both of the places for a couple months at the same time, so I've got lots of time to move everything. But I brought some stuff over tonight and wanted to kind of start getting my altar set up because I haven't done that yet. And I'm sitting here next to my box of tarot cards, and I thought it would be fun to do kind of like a tarot show and tell. So I'm just going to take out a couple of my favorite cards from each deck, or maybe just some random cards, and just show you the decks that I have, because I feel like that would be interesting to watch for me. So hopefully I can make this audio work with also showing you cards. I think I'll start with my first deck that I ever got. There it is. This one is in a bag. Most of them are in a box. So this is the Fountain Tarot. It looks very pretty. There's not a rainbow light on this, that's just what it does. So this was the first deck I ever got. And it's still one of my favorites of all time. The artwork is incredible, and I love the symbolism in each card, and I love the descriptions. It almost fell. I love the descriptions that the book that comes with it gives as well. So I feel very fortunate to have learned with this deck, and I still use it a lot. I still love it. So this is the book. So we'll see how this works with the audio. I still really want to record with the Apple mic because I think that it picks up audio better than just the regular iPhone mic. So I want to keep this for the good whispering and soft-spoken audio, but we'll see with the rest of the video how it goes. I don't know if I'll do much tapping for each deck because I feel like that would make this video into like an hour-long video, and it's not really my intention right now, so we'll see. So it opens up like a book, like this, with a magnet. This is so difficult since I have to hold this mic. I'm just going to find some cards to show you. Okay, well, I just took the deck out of the box, and the bottom card is the Nine of Swords. And I didn't pick very good lighting for this video, but I really like the Nine of Swords in this deck, because I think it captures the fear really well, the fear and the anxiety of the card. On a similar note, here is the Eight of Swords. This is probably my favorite artwork for this card ever. I think it captures it really, really well. I mean, that's what I said for the last one too. But the Eight of Swords is all about fear being in your mind and feeling trapped by your own mind. And I think this illustrates that really well because it's so up close, and you feel like you're really experiencing this with her. You can see she's got a blindfold on, but it's not opaque. It's transparent. Don't know how well you can see that, but it's because it's in her mind. So I really like this version of the Eight of Swords. I really like this Two of Cups also. It's just a little bit different than the artwork that you would usually see for it, and I think it shows a different side to the kind of relationship that this card is illustrating. And I think it makes it less obviously romantic, and this could be any kind of relationship that's beneficial to the two people. This moon card is pretty similar to the original Rider-Waite artwork, but it has its own spin on it, as the rest of this deck does. It has these beams coming off of these posts, and there's no land in this one, instead it's two docks. And I just love the color scheme as well. That Three of Swords is really pretty. Two more cards I want to show from this deck, and I'm looking for them. One is the High Priestess. I just think it's pretty. I like the duality of the black and white. I love the look on her face. I love all of the expressions that these people are illustrated with. I just think it's really well done. Okay, I said I was going to show 2 more. I'm going to show 4 more, so total 5 more since I said that. One I feel like I just have to show. It's the Fountain. So this is not a card that's in every other deck. It's unique to this deck. It's been a while since I've pulled that one, but I remember it being like equanimity, peace with the world. It's similar to Temperance in that way, but I always think it's interesting when decks have their own card, like a card that's specific to that deck. I think it's nice. A couple of honorable honorable mentions before we get to my favorite. The star. I love this star card so much. This is definitely my favorite star card. I like that she's illustrated as a pole dancer, because I think that one thing that is not usually talked about with the star is her connection to her sexuality and to her body, and the kind of shamelessness that's associated with it. In the Rider-Waite card, it's a naked woman, and she is meant to seem like she doesn't realize that she's naked. It's kind of like Adam and Eve before they left the garden. Like, they didn't realize they were naked because they didn't understand that it was anything to be ashamed of. And it's similar to that. So I like how this deck really turned it into something that we view as taking ownership over your body, over your sexuality, over your naked body, over something that we're taught to be ashamed of, and kind of taking that back and saying, I'm not ashamed. And I really like that they leaned into that with the illustration for this card. So that's why I like that one. I also really like the death card. I'm not really going to talk about it too much. It's just spooky. My favorite card from this deck is the Queen of Swords. Now, the reason that I like this Queen of Swords so much is because not only does she have a sword to protect herself, but she also has these glass barricades. So she's passively protecting herself at all times, while also actively discerning between who is allowed to come in and who's not. So she's protecting her energy at all times without even really having to make an effort. And if you're not worth coming into her space, then you don't get to enter. That card really helped to shape my understanding of the card in general, so I love it. Now, it's becoming very apparent to me that I am not going to get to all of my decks in this video, because I don't want it to be an hour long. So maybe I'll split this up into parts and I'll make a few more. I mean, my collection is going to grow anyway, so as I get more, I would naturally probably want to make more. But if this is interesting, maybe I can make a part 2 or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. So, the next deck that is just in my lap that I could cover is the Marigold Tarot. And now, anyone who knows me, I've mentioned this in my first video, knows that I really, really love things that are in a specific color palette. And this deck fits into that. It's just black and gold, and those are two colors that fit into the palette. So I love it just because I think it's beautiful. But also the symbolism in this deck is amazing also. Honestly, I think that about most of my decks. That's why I have them. I probably won't go into depth as much with this deck, because I don't want to spend as much time on it. I'll probably try just to show them more. something that's unique to this deck is that all of the people illustrated in this deck are skeletons. The symbolism of this deck has a lot to do with life cycles and death, and it talks a lot about bone and what that represents. Like I said, I'm probably not going to get into it very much, but this deck in particular has a lot of really interesting and unique symbolism, which I really, really appreciate, and that's what makes it one of my favorite decks, aside from the beautiful colors. So I'm just going to pick out some random ones to show from this one. The Ace of Rings, which would translate to the Ace of Pentacles, but this deck uses rings instead of pentacles. I just think the artwork is so beautiful on this one. The Six of Cups. Once again, the skeleton symbolism with the skulls. There is a PDF that you can buy for this deck for a few dollars. It doesn't come with its own book like a lot of decks do. If you want to get a physical copy of the book, it's another like $40. So I just bought the PDF. But it goes into depth about all of the symbolism, and I think that this deck and the book are both really worth it to deepen your understanding of the tarot and what it can mean. Strength. I love the Strength card because typically in the Strength card it's depicted as a woman and a lion, and the lion represents like the wild side or the beast side that you have to tame with love. And I like this card because it's a skeleton looking at a skeleton. It's kind of like looking at another version of yourself. It just illustrates it even more directly, and I really like that about this card. Now, I think that the Three of Swords is a really good benchmark in judging the artwork and the uniqueness of any deck. I think that the Three of Swords and the Ace of Cups, for some reason, those are the two that it'll really showcase the themes in the deck, and it showcases the artwork really well. Gives you a really good idea of what you're getting. So, just wanted to show that. Now, since I mentioned the Ace of Cups being a good benchmark for the artwork, I figured I should find it and pull it out. And I love this one, so it's a good representation of the deck, I think. So there's that. Okay, I think I'm going to show one more deck because this video is already much longer than I was expecting because I can't shut up. So I figured it would be good to kind of stick to the theme of showing my unique decks, ones that are different, that deviate from the typical Rider-Waite style. So in that vein, I decided the last deck that I'll show today is my Queen Alice Tarot from Dame Darcy. my old roommate got this one for me because we were in, well, because I picked it out and told her to get it for me, but because we were in a production of a version of Alice in Wonderland. It was a vertical dance production, so everyone was on harnesses. And I won't get too much into it, but it was very interesting. I played Tweedledum. I shit you not. That was the role that I played. I think I did it justice. It was pretty great. I had a really good time. But I felt it would be fitting to kind of commemorate that experience with a deck. I found this one, and I am actually not that big a fan of Dame Darcy's decks, typically. Like, I think she did the Mermaid Tarot, which was pretty popular, and I didn't love it, because her artwork is very unique. You'll see, it's kind of one of those things where you either love it or hate it, and I don't necessarily love it, but I love it for this deck. I think it fits really well. I think it's the kind of zany and weird and like outlandish energy that an Alice in Wonderland tarot should have. So this is my favorite Alice in Wonderland deck that I've seen, and I'm really happy that I have it because it's so unique. I mean, just look at this Ten of Cups. There is so much going on, and Alice looks a little creepy, but it's really cool. It's hand-drawn, and you can tell that it is, and I also love that about it. When I got this deck, I was also in a big hand-drawn tarot phase. I think the artwork is just perfect for this. Like I said, there's so much going on. It's so busy in the best way possible. You'll look at these cards and you'll see something new every time. It's so weird and like creepy in a way, which I'm not usually into, but it's so, like I said, it's so zany and just very unique. It really looks like a picture book. Like, it looks like these could have been illustrations in Alice in Wonderland, and it would have made perfect sense with the story. I love this card when she becomes Queen Alice. It's the world card, so it's like the end of the cycle, the end of the journey. I think it's genius. I just think that this deck is incredible. And like I said, I'm so happy to have it. Like, look at this Empress card. It's so creepy in such a weird, it's like, what is this? But it's so perfect. I just love it. It's just so unique. Okay, so since I talked a big game about the Ace of Cups and the Three of Swords, I'm going to find those now. My theory stands with the Ace of Cups. Look at all this shit. Like, what? There's so much going on here. It's incredible. It's so, like I said, busy, but it's incredible because you'll also find something every time you look at it. It's a great example of the way that things are illustrated in this deck too. I'm telling you, my theory stands. And here's the Three of Swords. Also a really good example. I mean, it's the Queen of Hearts. Like, you know what you're getting into with this deck, with this card. It's incredible, incredible. Okay, I think I'm going to end it there for tonight. This kind of was really fun for me. It was like an experience to get to go through some of my favorite decks and be reminded of why I like them so much. Because it's not very often that when I do a reading I really will get to look at all of the cards, and sometimes I miss out on seeing some of them for a really long time. Especially my Queen Alice. Atlas. I haven't looked at that in a while. So it was nice to kind of flip back through it, and remember why I like it so much. The Fountain as well, I haven't been using that one recently, and like I said, that one's one of my all-time favorites. It still holds such a special place in my heart, so I'm glad that I got to kind of relive it. I hope this was entertaining or interesting or just relaxing to you in any kind of way. If anyone was interested in this, let me know if you would want a part 2 or part 3, and I can continue to do this and show my decks, because this is what I'm alive for, basically, is tarot. It's my craft of choice. I want to one day do some pick a card readings in ASMR and maybe some not ASMR. So if you're interested in that, let me know as well. Just let me know if you're interested in anything. I'll probably do it. I thank you for joining me for this little show and tell, and I will see you later.